Yeah, if you're going to be in the picture,
Awesome.
you do.
Well, for everyone who's going to watch this, welcome. I've got my friend and business partner, Patty Vasulik, and her husband, Dr. Sandy Vasulik. And obviously, she's one of my most favorite people. Look at the hair. She's totally fun. And I've known you quite a while and done a lot of coaching with you. And currently, we are business partners in a network marketing company. And you're doing great. But of course, I have a vested interest in seeing you crush this one, right? So explain a bit about, I think you were kind of at a place where we're kind of going to walk, not really excited about network marketing anymore. Super briefly relate to people what's going on with you now. I know you found a product that's working really well for you. So you're excited, but why?
Because I see a lot of potential, and because we've been on the product for since the 1st of July, and we're seeing results with it. Back in April, I had decided I was done with network marketing, and we actually got out of the car one night. I told Sandy, I was like, I'm done. No more marketing, no more anything.
No more.
No more. 2 days later, bam, Steve messages me.
So I called you because I would love to partner with you, but I thought it would really help you with your health. And I know a lot of people watching this, they're kind of in the same mindset you and I are. Hey, can we help some people with their health? And then we add the business on top of that. So health-wise, what kind of results have you gotten?
Better sleep. That was the first thing I noticed. I thought I was sleeping pretty well, but I would still be tired when I woke up in the morning. And you had actually recommended some supplements last year, and I started taking those, and they helped some, but like I said, I thought I was sleeping. But after I started on this product, in about 2 to 3 days, I was having zombie sleep. I'd be like out
zombie
of it.
Sleep. I love it.
I wouldn't hear if either one of us was snoring.
Oh my goodness. Yes. It's the deep sleep, the dreams people start talking about,
Yes.
we have a mutual friend. Remember what she said? She goes, my dreams involved firefighters and chocolate, and that's all I can say.
And sprinkles.
and I didn't even hear that. I'm like, oh Lord, I don't want to know.
Yes. I know. She is fun.
Yeah. So basically, it's a product that rewires your hormone system. It's an HGH gel, and both you and the doc have gotten crazy results. But now we're like, okay, we want to build business, right? And stepping into a business, especially as someone who's passionate about helping people, putting people first, brings up some emotional things a lot of times, right? And then there's the balance of starting a new business that you're super excited about, but you got to make it through the disappointments. Newsflash, there will be disappointments, right? Till you get to where it's actually really growing, and that's a big issue. Now, one of the things, non-energy work, I want to give everyone who's watching this a very simple hint, okay? There's plenty of language you can use in talking to people that helps you preserve friendships and relationships as you build a network marketing business. And for a lot of you watching this, if you simply had the right language, it would so decrease your stress level that you could take more action. You can say something like this. If I called you up, Patty, I'm like, hey, Patty, how are you doing? Right? Maybe we haven't talked in a while. And you're like, great, Steve. I'm like, hey, look, I would love to catch up, but I'm actually calling about something specific, right? Because we haven't talked in a while. Like, no point in me chit-chatting, pretending I'm not calling about something, right? Because and I really like you, but we never get to spend time together. And now if we did this business together, now we get to hang out all the time, which is great. But if I said to you something like, hey, Patty, look, I would love to catch up, but I'm calling about something specific. I started a new business. I have a great opportunity to choose who I do business with. And when I thought about somebody I'd love to do business with, I thought about you. Hands down, one of the most fun people. Love hanging out with you. You've got tons of integrity, incredible leadership potential, and I think you could do huge things with this. But I want to be very clear that our friendship and relationship means more than any product or business, okay? So if you decide, after I show you this, that you're not interested, That's totally fine. I'm not expecting most people to be interested, and just tell me as quickly as possible, because I don't want you to ever like feel you have to avoid my phone calls to save my feelings or anything. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So now, even if you're not interested, you're going to say, hey, thanks so much for thinking about me, right?
Right.
Easy on me.
Thanks for thinking about us.
Yeah. So, and you're welcome, and thank you for jumping on board, because we're having fun. But I hope that makes sense to people, in that you can use language automatically that gets rid of the stress. You don't have to do your business in a way that causes you stress, and then somehow try and manage the stress as you go along, because you're doing something that's really out of integrity for you. So, a lot of the people watching this, they're healers, okay, and I like to call things the way they are. A lot of people who are healers are like allergic to money or something. It's sad, right? They often feel that doing business is in conflict with integrity, and doing things. It causes some major problems for people who are healers, because they're a little more sensitive. Does that make sense? Too often in this business, you see people who have zero empathy making millions of dollars. Why? Because they just keep going. And if you have a lot of empathy, doing a business like this can be a little tough, right? But it's doable. My sister has crazy high empathy, and I'm training her how to do this business in a way, and she's excited about it. Number one, she and her husband, he's a cardiac anesthesiologist, getting crazy results, but energetically, she's now in a good place. She goes, oh no, it's about other people. I'm not worried. I'm moving forward. It's all good. So one thing we're going to do is, now we've done a lot of work together, but I want to do work specifically for purely selfish reasons around you're rocking on your business, right? Okay. So one thing we're going to do is, it's very helpful to kind of measure where you're at on certain things, right? What's your level of consciousness? And we kind of go around a lot of different areas, around making a lot of money with it, around recruiting, around, disappointment or whatever. What for you right now, as you move forward, where do you see hiccups emotionally as you start moving forward?
Probably not finding time that I want to be able to do it.
Okay.
And distractions. Right now. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to overcome a lot of those distractions, but
hey, me too, right? It definitely happens. I built a big chunk of my business in just a few nights when I was in Bastrop, Texas, and I could go to this like co-working space and by myself, and there's nobody around. I just sit there and like boom, 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 boom. And a lot of my business is a result of just a few nights of doing that. And now I'm just kind of trying to catch up. But I want to do more of that, right? So part of it is emotionally. A lot of times what I find, if there's some speed bumps you have to get over emotionally to start working on it, then it requires a lot more discipline and structure to actually do it. Does that make sense?
Okay.
If you're super excited and you can't wait to talk to people, then you don't have to be so organized, right? It just happens. Does that make sense? So that's part of what we're going to look at here. So let me pray real quick. God, I just ask you for wisdom and insight to be a blessing to Patty and to manifest more of your kingdom in her life, a kingdom of righteousness and peace and joy. In Jesus' name. So you give me permission to do this for you?
Yes, I do.
All right, so I want to know, for example, your level of consciousness around recruiting, recruiting probably would help to spell recruiting. That's not even right either. I'm missing an I, aren't I? Yes, right there. Level of consciousness around recruiting, LOC around being successful, your income set point, LOC around overcoming disappointment. Maybe do we need to work on a Genesis trigger about your business. And again, for people who are watching, typically what you find often in doing energy work, especially emotion code work, you could test for, hey, do I have an trapped emotion, a heart wall, or anything connected to holding me back from doing my business? And your subconscious will spit out all sorts of stuff, right? But if you're very specific, like what's your level of consciousness and what's keeping it from moving higher? Or if you say, hey, what's the genesis trigger around a specific thing? A genesis trigger is just a way of asking your subconscious, hey, I want the absolute foundation of this, the very beginning, the thing that's holding it all up, where it all started from. When you say that, your subconscious will typically spit out something totally different. All of a sudden, this really significant thing, you're like, holy cow, like I've done like 20 sessions on this trying to figure it out, and now you give me this? Why did you tell me that like 20 times ago, right? But what your subconscious likes is like specificity, right? And so that can be super helpful sometimes. So let's see here, genesis trigger. All right, we need to talk about safe. What needs to be tested around safe, around something on the, we're going to test for something, what needs to be safe. It's on, on this, by the way, this flow chart is the Advanced Inner Healing Muscle Testing Toolkit. And if I remember, I'll post a link to this. One of my clients made this up. So negative emotion list on D, D6 of what do we need to feel safe about? Safe. Full. We'll just see what comes up with this. I think perhaps there's sometimes an issue of you being successful, but other people in your business struggling. Does that make sense? It's like,
Okay.
Often we bring people into the business saying, hey, we're going to do this together. We can make money. But if you go and leave people behind, there's a certain emotional thing of that, right? It's like, especially if they're angry at you or they start going to victim mode or, and that's going to happen, right? Mm-hmm. So if there's too much pain involving that, subconsciously you can go, hey, I'm not going to make a lot of money because it would make other people not so happy with me, right? If you're like making $50,000 a month and all your downline's like, oh, how do you do that? I don't know. I got put in the wrong time, the wrong place. You should have put this person on my downline, blah, 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 right? It's drama. It will happen. But the question is, to what degree will that potential, that drama hold you back, right?
Okay.
All right. So let's just number this and we'll say, as Patty, the most helpful thing to work on is, so first we're going to do your level of consciousness around overcoming disappointments, okay? Because there can be some subconscious things. You're like, oh yeah, sure, Patty, you always start out great, but you never finish. You always quit, right? There's that stuff playing. And like, hey, most people have done multiple network marketing companies, so most people can relate to this program going, oh, great, here we start another thing. Yeah, you were super excited about the last three, right? It happens to everybody. Does that make sense? Well, of course, no one would start in a network marketing business if they didn't think they were going to be successful. But one of the key skill sets in building a business is to discipline your disappointments, right? So if we go, as Patty, my level of emotional consciousness around overcoming disappointment includes, so it was less than 20. We're pulling this off of the map of consciousness and give people a super quick explanation. I think a lot of people watching this may have seen me use this before. Map of consciousness from the book Power versus Force. It just has a top and a bottom. The bottom is your operating in force. The top is your operating in power. enforce. You push on things, they push back. You can get stuff done. It's a lot of hard work. That sounds like the average network marketer's business. Then, bizarrely, there's some people, it's like, poof, right? They go to Home Depot for a random errand and happen to meet some people in the screw selection aisle who they strike up a conversation with, and that person makes them $20,000 a month, right? Really? And people go, really? Well, hey, it's possible, because if you operate in power, things just start clicking, okay? But the problem with this is this doesn't feel at all safe to you. In fact, you're not even measuring on the map of consciousness. Not that has to take a long time to fix, but we'll say as Patty, preventing me from most easily and effectively changing my level of consciousness around this is so just go track the motion, heart wall, spiritual root, body code. So it is something on the body code. On the left, circuits and systems, nervous system, autonomic, sympathetic. So when you're sympathetic nervous, oops, that's the wrong way. So your sympathetic nervous system, it's the fight or flight mode, right? And so when we get into fight or flight mode, so we go sympathetic nervous system. So sympathetic nervous system on the well, apparently we found it. There's like 5 underlying issues connected to this, so we'll hammer through them real quick. So disappointment in this business kind of makes you blow a fuse, right?
Yes.
Creating a hard time to get back on the horse, get your excitement back. Because, when you have enthusiasm, you're one of the best recruiters I know. Like when you're happy and you're pumped up, people are drawn to you like a magnet. And people are like, lady, pick hair, lady, whatever you're on, I want it. Yes. You stay in that energy. It's not hard to build your network marketing business, right? They're like, yeah, whatever it is, lotions, potions, pills, whatever I got to do, I want what you got, right? Like you say, hey, I'll help you wake up happy. People are like, yes, I want that, right? So, all right. So what's going on here? We'll say the first thing is a heart wall. Your heart wall in B6. So we'll say a heart wall in B6 of shame. And for those of you watching, for some reason it never seems to take a long time to release a heart wall when I'm working with people. Why that is, I don't know. They seem to feel better, so we go with it. All right, heart wall. Maybe about 5 months ago, heart wall of shame related to Monat. So the other network marketing, you did the Monat, the hair thing. Mm-hmm. We'll also describe it on the, because you did well with them for a while too, didn't you?
Yes.
Muddled, I would say maybe having to do with a kind of a muddled relationship with your upline. Like, what do you do with them? Do you tell them you're doing something else? Like, does that make sense? It's like,
yeah, let's see. 5 months ago, I wouldn't do anything else. But
yeah. Were you doing Monat though?
Yes, but just barely.
Barely.
I was ready to get out.
Ah,
I was like, and it's not the product. Still love the product. Still use the product. And I just was ready to quit marketing.
yeah.
And my downline had decided some of them didn't want to do it, and some of them didn't need me.
Got it. Yeah. Okay. Let's reset that for you. You know, one of the problems with network marketing is it's a personal development course with a paycheck attached, and you're energetic. It like kills your business or grows it. And if you don't know how to keep your emotions and your mindset spot on, wow, it goes south in a hurry, you know. Which is a good thing and a bad thing. The good thing is with a phenomenal attitude, you can have a high school education and make 6 figures a month, you know? So the bad news is you could have like a PhD in marketing and be a phenomenal salesperson and barely keep your nose above water, you know? So next thing is we'll go back to the body code for something. Say misalignments. So sternum, your sternum, you know, there's a lot of these different bones have an energetic correspondence as well. The sternum has to do with personal pride. You know, you'll notice people as they change their physiological state, it has a lot to do with how they're feeling about themselves. You see someone with super low self-esteem, they're not thinking very high of themselves. It's almost like they're trying to hide their sternum. You think about Superwoman. She's like, her sternum's up and out, taking up as much space as possible, you know, because she's tons of pride, right? And so that's really energetically, that's what the sternum comes down to. We'll say this one's described on the, we'll go in, just describe it real quickly. Vulnerable. You know, so it's kind of like, you know, you can do it, but as long as you don't have disappointment, right? If I can keep the disappointment at bay, I'm good. But if it ever comes, boom, it's taking me out, right?
Right.
So one main thing underlying that is a body, something also on the body code. So under dehydration, often I get energetic, a lack of certain energetic thing you have to put back into the system, like a lack of it, a severe lack of it, a complete lack of it. This is a complete lack of something, and we'll describe it on the chart. Complete lack of pride, which is B6. Pride in something on the negative. Say 6 of pride. So I think it has to do, here's what we're going to talk about. Sometimes it's super important to rehearse your victories, okay? And you've done much better than average on quite a few network marketing companies and other businesses as well, right? Like over and over, you've qualified for the car, you've won the trips consistently. But the problem is you're not giving yourself enough credit for that. Does that make sense? You're just say this, because God loves me.
Because God loves me.
Because God has a plan for my life.
Because God has a plan for my life.
I'm happy, grateful, and proud.
I'm happy, grateful, and proud.
That I've actually consistently kicked butt in this industry.
That I've actually consistently kicked butt in this industry.
Where most people usually fail.
Where most people usually fail.
Say, I'm a high achiever.
I'm a high achiever.
And I own it.
And I own it. Wait, let me get my Superwoman stance.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So what people have to do is, often in network marketing, we look at, we set a goal, we take some action, and then we compare where we are versus our ideal end results. Like, oh, I want to make $20,000 a month. Yeah, I've made like $50 this week, right? Looks a long ways off, right? Produces negative self-talk, low self-esteem, and now you start to procrastinate. And you're like, oh, I'm not picking up the phone, right? Or you can set the goal, take some action. Then what you've got to do is measure everything differently. So you measure where you've come from, not how far you have to go. So you're like, hey, I did freaking awesome today. I called 3 people, a couple of them are interested. Boom, right? You've got to make sure that you're measuring everything you're doing in a way that it encourages you, gets to produce positive self-talk, higher self-esteem, and more action. Okay. For all the networking marketers here, often you're told for shoot for the moon, shoot for this, whatever, stars, at least you'll hit the moon. People are always told to set massive goals, okay? And in my opinion, it's a huge mistake. There's big difference between dreams and goals, okay? You need to be hitting your goals consistently because you can't learn how to win by losing. You want to write yourself a 5-year plan that you're a bazillionaire on a yacht, on a beach, whatever, go for it, okay? That's not a goal though, because you've got to break it down into steps, right? And you need to feel the emotion that you're consistently winning, and however you need to set that up in your life, do it like you're talking a bit like, oh, you're being hard on yourself already. I'm not getting around to recruiting. I'm not being consistent, blah, 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 right? You need to change the rules. So even if your performance doesn't improve, you can start hitting some goals now where you're at. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
The confidence grows. You start putting more deposits in your personal integrity account, then start increasing it, right? If your goal is like, I'm going to text 1 new person a day about it. As long as you'll do that, awesome. Have the experience of hitting your goals consistently, then increase it, right?
Okay.
So, we're going to reset this vulnerable thing. All right. Number 3 is another body code issue. We've got a nutrition lifestyle. Sleep. Okay. Sleep. Something interfering with your sleep. What is interfering with your sleep? So, emotionally, a complete lack of something. And so we're not talking about that you're not sleeping well, but energetically, sometimes some things can start messing with you and trying to rewire your life while you're sleeping, the wrong things, right? This is actually often a place where you find spiritual influences. I don't think this is that, but just side note. Complete lack of something on the chart of emotions, and B, also need more pride. See, if you started journaling all the ways in which you consistently kick butt every day, it would be super good for you.
Okay.
Complete lack of pride and something on the negative. Like Pat, and again, narrow-minded. Interesting. Almost exact same description. So narrow-minded, for me, energetically comes up as like, it can be good or bad. Does that make sense? In this case, it's like, hey, I've consistently operated at high standards. Does that make sense? It's like, I'm a person who hits the goals. I can do this. I can perform at a high level. So just say this. So I'm an excellent businesswoman.
I'm an excellent businesswoman.
And an excellent business partner.
And an excellent business partner.
The people who partner with me.
The people who partner with me.
Are lucky to have me.
Are lucky to have me.
And are going to be blessed by our relationships.
And are going to be blessed by our relationships.
Say, I'm uniquely gifted.
I'm uniquely gifted.
To pull out the best out of people.
To pull out the best out of people.
You know, so it's this kind of business we take on sometimes more responsibility than we should, right? When someone signs up with you, it's not your responsibility to make sure they're successful. You know, we need to show up and match their energy and encourage them and be the best version of ourselves. Ultimately, other people are responsible, and you'll have plenty of people come in your business that no matter what you would do, they would never go anywhere for them. And that's, you did them a favor by giving them an opportunity to succeed, right? No matter what happens for them.
Mm-hmm.
Also something in the body code, we'll say it's back to dehydration. Just a basic lack of what? Lack of something on the positive list. Page 2. Complete lack of vital. Lack of vital. So just say this. Say, I'm happy, grateful, and proud.
I'm happy, grateful, and proud.
That when God created me.
That when God created me.
He didn't leave anything out.
He didn't leave anything out.
I have everything I need.
I have everything I need.
To do everything I want in this business.
To do everything I want in this business.
And I can effortlessly overcome disappointment.
And I can effortlessly overcome disappointment.
As I rest in God's peace for my life.
As I rest in God's peace for my life.
Right. And so quick note to everyone watching this. I know we've had this discussion many times. When you experience disappointment, do not ask yourself why that happened. Your brain will start feeding you lines of BS, and you'll start digging a hole that's very difficult to get out of. You know, someone quits on you, whatever. Network marketing is a minefield of disappointment. You can't ask yourself why. You just go, what's the hidden gift in it? How can I can be better and stronger for this? How can I move forward? Right? Not why did they quit? Your brain goes, because you suck at this business, and it's a good idea for them to leave you, right? Like, well, that's not helpful or accurate. Your brain's like, look, you never asked prejudged for helpful and accurate. I'm just feeding you answers because you ask questions, and that's all, right? So, you know, for anyone watching this, if you're working on your network marketing business, you're going to experience disappointment. You're just going to have a laser-like clarity on not asking why, because you'll dig a hole you're never going to get out of, and you walk away. So walk away from a great opportunity. So you see people who've succeeded in network marketing, you'll see that they've overcome many disappointments before they were ever successful. And that's one of the keys to finishing is overcoming disappointment. And the first clue is don't ask why. Ask, how can I become better off for it?
Okay.
If someone leaves my business for another business, I go, how can I make it a better opportunity so fewer people do that, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 5 is a bunny code. Back to dehydration, which is 3 categories I find energetically. There is lack of, severe lack of, complete lack of. We'll go with severe lack of this time. Why does it come up like that? I don't know. It's a mystery, but it works. So severe lack of something on the negative. Page 3. Wounded, severe lack of wound. So it may look like, why do you want more wounding? But it's often one of the things you have to do is you have to rehearse and own your victories. Does that make sense? Like before David killed Goliath, he had a conversation with King Saul, and he said, "Hey, I killed the lion, I killed the bear." Right? You got to always, when your situation talks to you, you got to go over it. Like, no, I've overcome this, I've overcome that. That makes sense. So what should be more wounded in your life, or recognized to be more wounded, is something on the negative. Page 2. C. Even. Just say this with me. Say, I'm happy, grateful, and proud.
I'm happy, grateful, and proud.
That I have tons of experience building businesses like this.
That I have tons of experience building businesses like this.
And I've gotten smarter each and every time.
I've gotten smarter each and every time.
And I do know exactly what to do.
And I do know exactly what to do.
Any thought or feeling.
Any thought or feeling.
That I don't know what to do, or I'm naive. Has been mortally wounded.
Has been mortally wounded.
And won't be bothering me much anymore.
And won't be bothering me much anymore.
So not this uncertainty, this naive thing, it really jacks with your nervous system, because it's like, I don't know, right? I don't know how to handle what's about to come down the road, right?
Okay.
All right, so we'll say, how are we doing so far? So if we remeasure this, we'll say you're at let's see. Up to 310. Now, I will make a disclaimer for anyone else watching this. You're not going to get this quick results. It's because we have some foundation on stuff we've put in place. Does that make sense? And I think in the future, Patty, we're going to go back through and retest some of these. Let's see what will be the next thing we'll work on. So next thing, one time we do this together, we're going to work on a Genesis trigger. We'll muscle test for specifically what the genesis of what, right? We'll find out what we're working on, and then figure out what the Genesis trigger is on that, and then solve it for you. Anyways, hope for all you other people watching the video, I hope that's helpful. I'm going to stop the recording now, and we're going to talk some business. But anyways, I appreciate you, Patty, and playing this evening with us. So